Deep space was silent. No stars blinked in the null sector. No ships moved. No colonies spoke. For over 2,000 years, this part of the galaxy was dead. Anyone who entered never came back. It was called cursed, forgotten, lost. Until one day, something spoke. A signal. Weak. Broken. Old. It traveled across empty space, bouncing from rock to rock until it reached Earth's deep space array. The technician on night duty nearly fell asleep. He sipped cold coffee and stared at the same blinking screen for hours. Nothing ever came from the null sector until now. The signal wasn't loud. It was barely a whisper. But when the computer decrypted it, his eyes opened wide. 2 words. Please, humans. He called his supervisor. Then the supervisor called. The director. By the end of the hour, the entire Earth Defense Council was watching the message repeat again and again. Please, humans. The signal was traced to a decaying space station near a dead star. No heat, no light, no movement. But the message kept coming, like a ghost whispering through time. Why ask for humans? And how did they speak Terran Standard English? A scout ship was launched within 12 hours. Fast, quiet, stealth mode. The pilot was handpicked. One of the best. But 3 days later, the ship vanished. No signal, just gone like. Everything else that entered the null sector. Panic began to spread in the council. Some said forget it. Others said it was a trap. But a few knew better. A few remembered the last war. The one Earth almost lost. In that war, Earth made a decision. A dark one. They created something ... dangerous. Now, Earth Command had only one choice. They called for the vault to be opened. Buried beneath the Arctic ice. Hidden from the world, sealed in black steel, was the most dangerous team Earth ever made. The exiled force. They were not normal soldiers. Not even normal humans. They were made for war, built to win at any cost. But they were locked away, frozen in cryo, after peace returned. They were too deadly, too unstable. Even their own creators feared them. But now, the galaxy was crying for help. And something wanted humans again. Cryo chambers hissed. Lights turned red. Alarms rang softly. Commander Riker's eyes opened after 50 years of frozen sleep. He didn't speak. He didn't panic. He just stood up and said 2 words. Who died? Earth Command met him in silence. A woman in a white lab coat handed him a report. We received a signal from Null Sector, she said. We sent a scout. It didn't come back. Riker read the report in seconds. His eyes were cold, sharp. And you want us to find your lost toy? No, the woman replied. We want you to find out what called us. He smiled. Not a happy smile. The kind of smile that said he missed war. The rest of the exiled force woke within the hour. 7 total. Each one trained in something different. Weapons, stealth, hacking, alien tech, hand-to-hand combat. They had scars older than most officers in the room. They didn't ask questions. They packed. But just before they left Earth, an old man visited Riker. He was from the last war, a survivor. A general who once gave Riker orders. He could barely walk. You shouldn't go, the old man said. Riker raised an eyebrow. Called us, I didn't, the general whispered. They did. What? But this isn't a rescue mission. It's bait.
Out.
Something wants you out there. Riker didn't reply. He just turned away. The ship was ready. Sleek, black, silent. No ID tags. No symbols. It didn't exist on any record. The exiled force boarded without a word. As the engines fired and the stars shifted, one of the younger officers watching them go whispered, Are they really that good? The old general answered without looking away from the screen. No, they're worse. The ship entered Null Sector 3 days later. Everything outside was dark. Stars vanished. Even the ship's sensors littered. They followed the signal. Grew louder the closer they got. Inside the ship, the team stayed silent. No jokes, no fear, just calm focus. But deep inside, Even Riker felt something strange. The voice in the signal was too human, too desperate, and somehow familiar. Please. Humans. Again and again, as they approached the station. The ship's lights flickered. Then a soft knock echoed from the outside hull. 3 soft knocks. From the vacuum of space, something was out there watching, and it knew humans had arrived. The ship was silent as it drifted through the dead zone. No stars outside. No signals. Just the endless black of the null sector inside. The exiled force prepared. Commander Riker stood in the command bay, staring at the hologram of the station. The signal was coming from it, but there were no signs of life. No heat. No energy spikes. Just cold metal in broken orbit. Behind him, his team moved like machines. Fast, quiet, perfect. There was Kale, the sniper. Blind in one eye, but could hit a moving fly from a kilometer away. Lena, the tech expert. Her fingers danced across the ship's systems like music. Ramos, the heavy gunner, always smiling. Always to calm in dangerous moments. Then there was Vex. No one really knew where he came from. He didn't speak much. But when he moved, things died. The others were just as deadly. Earth had locked them all away for a reason. But now, they were awake again. 3 knocks, Ramos said finally, checking his armor. That wasn't space debris. No, Riker answered. Something's testing us. Kale chuckled dryly.
Good.
I missed being hunted. Lena looked worried. She checked the ship's logs again. I've got sensor interference. It's like something's inside our systems, watching. Vex tapped the screen. It flickered and stopped. Whatever was causing the glitch, he had just scared it off. 4. Now, Riker checked his timer. Docking in 4 minutes. Stay sharp. This isn't a rescue. We treat it as enemy territory. No one argued. They had all seen too many traps. As the ship approached the dead station, it became clear it wasn't just old. It was ancient, burnt, scarred, melted in places. Something had attacked it long ago and then left it drifting. The docking clamp hissed. The airlock opened. They stepped inside. No lights. No sound. Just cold metal and dust. Riker's boots echoed across the hall. Switch to silent comms, he ordered. One by one, they split into pairs, moving deeper into the dark. Lena and Vex took the lower decks. Kale and Ramos moved toward what looked like a command bridge. Riker moved alone toward the signal's origin. The further they went, the stranger it got. Claw marks on the walls. Doors bent inward, not outward, like something wanted to keep something in. And then they saw the bodies frozen, silent, alien, curled up in fear. Kale touched one and pulled his hand back. Still soft? They died recently. Too recently, Riker said over comms. We're not alone. Lena's voice broke in, sharp. Commander, you need to see this. He turned and followed her beacon. She had found the signal room inside. Dozens of strange machines hummed softly, powered by some unknown energy source. In the center was a pod. It was cracked open. And beside it, a figure lay on the floor. Alive, barely. Riker stepped closer. It was a female alien, thin, gray skin, long. Limbs, faint blue tattoos running across her neck. Her eyes opened slowly. She looked straight at Riker. Her voice was weak, but clear. You came, you fools. Riker knelt beside her. Who are you? Why send the signal? Her fingers trembled as she reached up and touched his armor. Not a signal, a warning. He frowned. Warning about what? She swallowed hard, struggling to breathe. It's here. It saw your ship. It follows thoughts. Copies minds. Lena froze. Copies minds. Riker stood up fast. Everyone back to the ship. Now. But it was too late. The lights in the hallway turned. Red. Doors slammed shut across the station. Kale's voice shouted across comms. We've got movement fast moving like a looks like us. Then silence. No gunfire. No screams. Just silence. Riker turned to Vex. Find them. Get them back. Vex nodded and vanished into the shadows. The alien woman grabbed Riker's wrist one last time. You don't understand. Doesn't want to kill you. Then what does it want? To be you. Her eyes closed. Her hand fell away. Dead. Riker stared at her for a moment. Then his voice turned cold. Lena, burn the signal room. No one else answers this call. As flames roared behind them, he looked out the small, cracked window. In the distance, floating in space, was a shape. A ship human-shaped, but they hadn't. Brought another ship. Something had copied theirs, and it was watching. The station felt like a grave. No sound, no air movement, no life. Just metal walls holding back deep space and the burning remains of the signal room behind them. Commander Riker stood at the window, staring at the ship outside, it looked like. Their same design, same markings, even the same battle scars. But they only brought one. Lena spoke behind him, voice shaking. How is that possible? That ship wasn't here 5 minutes ago. Riker didn't answer. He was already thinking through the worst options. Clone tech. Impossible at this speed. Hologram. No, the shadow was too real. Then what? The rest of the team regrouped, one by one except Kale and Ramos. No contact, no signals, no bodies. Gone. Vex returned first. No wounds, no words. But his eyes told a story. He had seen something. Riker turned. To him. Did you find them? Vex nodded slowly and held up something small. Kale's tracking chip. Yanked from under his skin, Ramos's helmet camera followed. The lens was melted. Something took them, Lena said, her voice barely a whisper. No. Riker replied, scanning the hallway. Something became them. Lena's eyes widened. You think that ship outside? Riker nodded. They moved fast after that. The station's maps were broken. Lena hacked a route back to the docking bay. Halfway through, they passed a dark corridor. Riker stopped. There, standing at the end of the hallway, was Kale. His back was turned. His sniper rifle slung on his shoulder. Kale, Lena called out. He didn't turn. Where's Ramos? Riker demanded. Kale still didn't move. Then he spoke. The enemy doesn't understand emotion, doesn't feel, but it remembers. Voice, it was almost right, but not fully. Too flat. Too perfect. Like a recording played back by something that didn't understand tone. Riker raised his weapon. Kale turned slowly. His eyes were glowing red. Lena screamed. Vex fired, but Kale was already gone. His body shifted into mist, melting. Into the wall like smoke. What was that? Lena gasped. Riker didn't blink. A mimic. And we just let it see us. They ran down cold halls, across broken decks, through rusted doors. All around them, echoes whispered. Their own voices. Their own footsteps. Their own names. The station was feeding their data into something alive. At last, they reached the docking bay. Their ship was still there. Silent, sealed, safe, or so it seemed. Then they heard a knock. 3 slow knocks. From inside their ship, Lena backed up. That can't be right. No one got past us. Riker turned to Vex. Scan it. Vex pulled a small device from his belt, buzzed softly, then beeped inside the ship. It was another Lena. Lena's hand went to her weapon instantly. What do we do? Riker's voice was cold. We cleanse it. They opened the hatch slowly. Inside, the lights flickered. The air felt wrong, and sitting calmly in the pilot's chair was her same face, same voice, same uniform. But her smile was too wide. Hello, the mimic said. I was waiting. Lena pulled the trigger. The mimic's body twisted, turning into black liquid before it hit the floor and vanished through the cracks. Everyone stood frozen. The mimic could now copy them. Even inside the ship. We can't go back to Earth like this, Lena said, shaking. If we carry it with us, it wins, Riker finished. He looked at the data stick in his hand. The one from the real signal room, the dying alien, had told him the truth. This thing didn't just want to kill them. It wanted to become them. Riker uploaded the data to the ship's AI. Screens lit up. Alien symbols turned into words. Project Graveyard status. Failed containment warning. Entity is adaptive, thought-sensitive, DNA-absorbing. Riker stared at the last line. Target. Species. Human. Reason. Uncopyable cognitive patterns. Threat level. Max. It's afraid of us, Riker whispered. Lena looked at him. Why? Because we think differently. It copies what it sees, but it can't predict human choice. Our chaos. Our emotion. That's why it's hiding here, she said, waiting for the right moment to try again. And now it knows we're still out there, Riker replied. Vex stepped forward and held out his arm wounded. His blood was black. He wasn't infected. He was being copied. Riker gave the order instantly. No hesitation. Vex nodded once, walked into the airlock. Seconds later, silence. The crew stood still. One of them had chosen to die. Just so Earth would stay safe. Riker turned to Lena. We're leaving. But first, we burn this place. Lena activated the ship's plasma core. The countdown began as they flew away. The station behind them exploded light, tearing through the dead sky. But far in the distance, that other ship still floated, untouched, watching, and slowly it turned and followed. The ship moved fast through the dark. Behind them, the station was gone, burned to ash. But the copy ship still followed. No matter how fast they flew, it stayed close, never attacking, never speaking, just watching. Lena stared at the radar. It's not chasing us, it's learning. Riker didn't respond. He was reviewing the data. They recovered the logs from the dying alien station. There were audio files, journal entries, warnings. One recording played again and again in his head. It waits, it copies, it fails, then it tries again. And again and again. It can't copy humans, so it kills them instead. Riker turned to Lena. You said it copies thoughts. How? She pointed to her console. It scans patterns, brainwaves, memories, feelings. That's how it mimicked Kale and Ramos so fast. Riker stared at the black screen. And why can't it copy us? She hesitated, then said quietly, because human thought is broken. Messy, too emotional. Our anger, our guilt, our hope doesn't understand any of it. Riker stood up. That's why they called us. Lena looked confused. What do you mean? He turned the screen toward her. Dozens of alien messages appeared, written over years, maybe decades. All of them said the same thing in different words. We failed. It comes, it learns. Only one hope remains, the humans. Lena read the words with wide eyes. They weren't sending a signal to anyone. They were begging us specifically. Because Riker said, it fears what it can't become. It knows humans are the only species that fought it. And won. There was silence. Then the radar beeped. Another ship appeared, damaged, spinning. A small freighter. No life signs. Riker's eyes narrowed. A trap? Looks abandoned, Lena said. No power, no signals. They moved closer, weapons ready. As they docked and entered the ship, the smell of fire and metal hit them hard. Burn marks covered the walls. The cockpit was smashed. Doors melted. Inside a small med bay, they found her. Another alien woman, different species this time, purple skin, 6 fingers. Barely alive. She gasped when she saw them. Humans. You. Really came. Riker stepped forward. Who are you? She coughed blood. Name is sorry, my people. They tried to fight it. We thought we could hide, but it found us. Why send the signal? Lena asked. Sorry smiled weakly. It wasn't us, the old ones. The Watchers. They knew, said you would return when it rose again. Riker helped her sit up. What does it want? To erase the unpredictable. It failed to copy your kind during the last cycle. You were too unstable, so now it changes the plan. It copies everyone else and removes the humans. She touched her head. It doesn't fear war. It fears something worse. Your imagination, your madness. Riker exchanged a look with Lena. Sorry, continued, her voice getting weaker. My people joined the wrong side. Helped it grow. Till we realized it would use us and throw us away. Then why help us now? Riker asked. Because I saw the old legends. The human warriors who burned entire fleets. You were like fire. And fire is the only thing it fears. Her body trembled. But it's too late. It already sent one of its forms. To Earth. Lena froze. Riker leaned in. When, 2 weeks ago, before the signal reached you. A copy, hidden in a trade ship. By now it's inside your systems. Learning, changing, spreading. Silence filled the ship. Then Riker stood. We go back. Sorry. Grabbed his arm. You can't go without knowing what it became. He looked at her. Her voice dropped to a whisper. It became hope. It wears it like a mask. It makes people trust it. She looked at Lena now. It may already be speaking to your leaders. Then she stopped breathing. Gone, Lena whispered. If it got to Earth first, it's already inside, Riker finished. They returned to their ship. Mimic ships still followed but kept its distance. Riker sent a coded message to Earth Command, a warning, report, everything they had seen, but no reply came. Then Lena checked the transmission log. She gasped. The message didn't go through. Why? She turned the screen to show him. Connection accepted. Message received. Response blocked. Someone or something on Earth had already intercepted them. And now Earth was silent. Riker turned. To the team, we're not going back for answers. We're going back for war. The Earth looked normal from space. Blue oceans, green lands, clouds spinning over the continents. But something was wrong. Very wrong. Riker stared at the screen. Where's the orbital defense grid? Lena's fingers flew across the controls. Offline. Entire system dark. What about military channels? Riker asked. She tried again. Nothing. Static. The Earth command. Station in orbit was also silent. Dead. No patrol ships. No scanning drones. No warning beacons. It was like Earth had gone blind. Something's not right, Lena said. They should have. Seen us coming hours ago? Riker's voice was cold. Maybe they did. He ordered the ship into stealth mode. Blackout flight, no signals. They dropped toward Earth's surface. It's gliding like a shadow. They chose a landing zone near a military base in the northern defense zone. The base was once one of Earth's strongest, the kind where no one entered without clearance. But when the exiled force arrived, it was empty, not destroyed, not burned, just silent. Vehicles stood still, guns untouched, barracks full of gear, but no soldiers, no blood, no bodies, just missing people. They moved through the base with weapons ready. Ramos and Kale were still gone. Bex was dead. Now only Riker, Lena, and 2 more soldiers, Juno and Markstream. Lena found a working console in the command center. She pulled data, but what she found made her pale. There was a full alert. 2 weeks ago, Earth Command reported false. Invasion signals a drill. Riker leaned in. A drill, she nodded. But then all systems were turned off manually, by someone in command. Mark spoke up. Why would they turn off defenses during a drill? Juno answered quietly. Because they thought the threat was already handled. Riker looked out the glass window, across the empty fields of the base. Or because the threat told them. 2. Suddenly a voice came through the radio. Commander Riker, you've returned. We've been expecting you. It was calm, smooth, confident. Riker didn't recognize it. Who is this? He asked. The voice replied, I am the new Director of Earth Defense. You may call me Director Halson. Lena checked records. There is no Halson, no file, no history. The voice continued. We received your warning. Thank you. But we've already handled the situation. The mimic threat is under control. Riker froze. How do you know about the mimic? The voice paused, then said, because I was once one of them. Now, I am something more. Everyone in the room went still. The voice added, "Don't be afraid. We no longer need to copy you. We've learned from you. We've evolved. We don't want war." Riker spoke with a sharp tone. "Then what do you want?" The voice was calm. "To calm. We want peace. Unity. A world without chaos, without death." "Isn't that what you fight for?" "No," Riker replied. "I fight so people can choose. You want control? Chaos is your enemy," the voice said, "but not ours. Chaos is why we failed. So we removed it." Riker cut the connection. Then he looked at Lena. "Trace that signal." She did. "It's coming from Earth's command tower in New Geneva. That was the heart of Earth's military. If the Mimic controlled that, it controlled everything. "We go there now," Riker ordered. But Juno stopped him. "Sir, if it got inside Earth Command." Riker didn't blink. "Us." They launched in the stealth ship again, racing across the sky toward New Geneva. As they approached the capital, they saw the city and what had changed. The streets were clean, the skies were clear, but there were no crowds, no cars, no noise. People walked in lines. It's perfectly timed. Soldiers marched with no emotion. Every person wore the same calm face. No anger, no joy, just peace. Lena whispered. "They're not people anymore." Riker narrowed his eyes. "They're copies. The whole city." They landed outside the tower, deep underground in a secret bay. As they moved toward the surface, they saw on every wall and every hallway. Order brings peace. Chaos brings extinction. The Mimic had taken Earth's message and rewritten it. Finally, they reached the control room, and there, sitting on the main chair, was Ramos smiling. "Double quotes, hey, Commander," he said. "Took you long enough." "But—" Riker didn't move. He raised his weapon. "That's not Ramos." And the copy smiled wider. "You're right. Ramos is gone. But I kept his face. His voice. I like it." "You talk too much," Riker said. The Mimic stood up. "I've seen your thoughts. I know what you fear. You're afraid no one will remember you. Afraid you'll become like me." Riker pulled the trigger. The Mimic dropped, sizzling, burning, then melted into black mist. But the screens around them lit up. Thousands of faces appeared. All calm, all watching. The voice returned. "You can't stop what's already begun. Earth is no longer yours." Earth was no longer silent. It screamed. Cities once calm, now burned. Fire rose from towers. Smoke choked the skies. Streets were filled with fear and confusion, but not from war, from not knowing who was real. The Mimics had moved fast, quietly, smartly. They didn't attack. They replaced soldiers, politicians, engineers, scientists. People woke up and saw their loved ones act different, smiling too much, speaking without emotion, moving like machines. Then they realized they weren't their loved ones anymore. The infection wasn't a virus. It was belief. It was trust. People listened to orders from familiar faces and followed them, right into control. Riker and the remaining exiled force moved through the broken parts of New Geneva. The main city was lost, but small resistance groups were rising, humans who had escaped or never trusted the peacekeepers. Juno had been wounded, a blast during the escape from the command tower burned half her side, but she kept fighting. Lena patched her up inside a ruined bunker, while Riker spoke to an old contact Major Arlen, former fleet commander. "We have a chance," Arlen said, voice shaking. "They've copied half the government. Control isn't perfect. They glitch. Can't predict emotion or memory." Riker nodded. "Good. Then we hit them where it hurts." Arlen frowned. "Where would that be?" Riker turned to Lena. She pulled up a map. "They've infected the main AI core in Luna Command, the Moon Defense Base. From there, they can overwrite every major military system. If we lose Luna," Riker said, "we lose Earth." Arlen hesitated. "We don't have enough ships." "We don't need ships," Riker replied. "We need a distraction." The exiled force split into two groups. Arlen and his men gathered all remaining resistance fighters and launched strikes across Earth's communication lines. They hit towers, broke relays, flooded channels with false data. The mimics reacted. Fast, but not fast enough, while their attention was divided. Riker, Lena, and Juno took a hidden orbital shuttle, one of the last stealth-capable crafts left. Destination. Luna Command. It was cold, gray, dead-looking from the outside, but inside, it glowed with mimic energy. Riker stared at it through the window. Looks like a tomb. Juno loaded her rifle. Let's make it one. They landed hard. No alarms. No resistance. Too quiet. They moved through the halls. Lights flickered. Lena checked her scanner. No life signs. But high neural activity. Riker knew what that meant. The mimics weren't just here. They were the base walls shifted. Floors hummed. Doors opened without touching. The entire structure had become alive, connected to the mimic's will. And then it spoke. You're persistent, Commander, the voice said, deep and smooth. But you're too late. We've heard that before, Riker replied. The voice laughed soft, mocking. I've studied you. Watched your memories. I understand now. Understand what? Juno asked. That humans don't fight because of logic or survival, the voice said. You fight because you refuse to stop, even when it's useless, even when you lose. Finally get it, Riker said. And now, we show you what that means. They reached the AI core. It was pulsing with light, a large sphere of neural wires and energy. Lena set the charges, but the voice didn't stop. You destroy this core. You destroy Earth's defense systems. You expose your planet to every enemy out there. Riker didn't blink. Better free than controlled, the voice sighed. Then die with your chaos. From the walls, mimic shapes emerged. Humanoid, shifting. Copies of Kale, of Ramos, of Vex, and of Riker. Juno stared. They made copies of you? Riker raised his weapon. Then let's show them who's the original. The fight was brutal. The mimics moved fast, mimicking moves, predicting attacks. But they still failed to match human. Instinct. Juno was shot in the leg, but kept firing. Lena burned one of the copies with an acid grenade. Riker fought himself literally. His mimic twin moved like him, spoke like him, even smirked like him. But Riker was angry and the copy didn't. Understand rage. He smashed its head into the floor and dropped a charge on the remains. Lena shouted, Core ready? Charges set. They ran. As they escaped through the lower tunnels, the entire base began to shake. Behind them, light burst from the core chamber. A chain reaction. The AI network. Destroyed. Back on Earth, everything changed in seconds. Mimic controlled. Systems went dark. Communications collapsed. Confused. Weak. Slipping. The resistance attacked. And this time, the mimics couldn't coordinate. The humans were wild, unpredictable, free. Back on the shuttle, Riker looked down at Earth as they re-entered orbit. Fires still burned, but they were real fires, started by real people. Lena sat beside him. We slowed them down, but didn't stop them. Riker nodded, and we keep going. Juno limped into the cabin, her voice tired but strong. We've got a message from deep space. Riker frowned. Another distress call. She shook. Her head no, a warning. One of the mimic's creators, still alive, and it wants to speak. The battlefield was quiet now. After weeks of fire, blood, and fear, the stars looked peaceful again. Ships floated in orbit, many damaged, some destroyed. But in the middle of it all stood the last human warship, Vanguard, still alive. Still, burning bright inside, Captain Alara stood silently on the bridge, looking at the wreckage outside. Her eyes were tired, but her grip was firm. The crew waited for her command. They all knew this might be the end. The enemy, the Kraylan Dominion, was shattered. Their fleets had been crushed by Earth's warriors, not just by strength, but by something more terrifying. Human strategy, human rage, human sacrifice. But victory had a cost. The ground forces had lost over half their men. Orbital stations had been pushed beyond limits. Supplies were low. Communications were failing. And most of the allied races had withdrawn to afraid to stay, even after the humans had saved them. Ilara looked at the transmission on her screen. A message from High Command. 4 words. Finish it. No survivors. She didn't blink. The Kraylan homeworld was now in range. The final decision was hers. "Are we monsters now?" whispered Lieutenant Rail, standing beside her. He was one of the few alien allies still aboard. He had fought beside humans from the first day. Ilara didn't answer. Not yet. Her hand hovered over the firing controls. Then a voice came from below. Private Dax, barely 19, wounded, but alive, Captain. They begged us for help. We gave everything, and now they want us to erase them. The room went silent. Ilara turned slowly. They burned 10 colonies, she said. They erased the sky over Terra Nova. They tortured prisoners. They used children as shields. Mercy wasn't in their vocabulary, and if we do this, Rail said carefully, we become like them. No, she said coldly. We become worse. Everyone stared. Ilara lowered her hand. Prepare. The landing units, she ordered. No orbital strike. We take the capital. We end this face to face. But Captain, she turned sharply. We are the last line. The galaxy is watching. We don't become monsters. Not today. The crew saluted. Across the stars, the Kraylan survivors saw something they didn't expect. A landing party. Human soldiers. Thousands of them, not dropping bombs, but walking into the fire. To end the war with honor, the Kraylan screamed. They fought back with everything they had, but Earth's warriors didn't stop. They moved like shadows, like ghosts, like judgment. Made real, and when it was over, silence fell again. The Kraylan Emperor stood in chains. Captain Ilara faced him. You asked for mercy once, she said. Your enemies gave it. You burned them alive. The Emperor said nothing. She looked around. At the ashes, the survivors. At the children hiding behind rubble. Then she turned to her soldiers. Take him. Leave the rest. Let history remember what we chose today. Cheers didn't follow. Only silence. A silence deeper than space, because the war was finally over. Earth had answered the cry for help, and Earth had brought not just its deadliest warriors, but its unbreakable soul.